The thing I like about Mr. Mac, actually, there's a lot of things I like. One of the things is the variety. I know that if I come into Mr. Mac, they're going to have lots of options for me. And we're talking designer options. I can pick from Calvin Klein. I like Talia, Zanetti, and some of the designer brands. And I know that they'll have those. And then I can see what fits me off the rack. And then it's the tailoring side that makes it look so good. And the thing about Mr. Mac is, and this has been part of what they've done forever, as long as I've known them, I think for the 50 years that they've been around, is they take care of you from a tailoring standpoint to make it look like it was custom made just for you. And that's why when I wear a suit, it looks like, man, that looks like he must have had that made for him. Well, I bought it at Mr. Mac, and then they made it just for me. It's funny because people have this idea that Mr. Mac is the missionary suit store, which they absolutely are. And I don't think Mr. Mac will ever want to get away from that. But when I tell them that the suits that I'm wearing are Mr. Mac, sometimes they look at me and they're like, are you sure? Are you making that up? And it's true. I mean, all the stuff that I wear is Mr. Mac stuff. And people aren't aware that Mr. Mac has these designer brands like a Talia or like a Calvin Klein or down the line. And so when they find that out, at least it intrigues them enough that they'll think about coming into Mr. Mac. And then when they come in, that's all that needs to happen. Because once you come into Mr. Mac, any one of the stores, the customer service is better than anything you're ever going to experience at any other place. And that's the thing that they've been built on for 50 years. From Matt Christensen himself starting off, taking care of his clients. That's what happens when you walk into Mr. Mac. They're going to take care of you. You can't always change, your suit every time. I mean, I have quite a few suits, and that's nice. But I come in a lot of times on my way to the Jazz game. I'll come in and I'll pick out a different tie. I'll ask one of the sales guys, hey, can you help me out? Take a look at this the clothes that I'm wearing, this suit, these socks, these shoes, maybe a different pocket square, something to make it look unique, which is pretty cool because a lot of people, they might have a certain amount of suits and limited in the number of suits that they have. But you can come in here to Mr. Mac and the tie selection is beyond anything you're going to find. The pocket squares, the belts, the shoes, the things that it's called the haberdashery, but the things that you would use to accessorize your suit, they have all those things here, including just an array of some of the greatest socks you'll ever find. I've known Mr. Mac, speaking of the store, Mr. Mac, for as long as I can remember. I mean, going back to when I first started in college at BYU. And the first suit that I ever bought was from the Orem store at University Mall, and it was a gladiator suit. It was supposed to be made for an athletic build. I was a football player at the time, and I remember I bought that suit when I was still playing, and then when I got my first job in the TV business, I didn't have any suits except for the ones that I had bought from Mr. Mac, and I was in Hawaii, and I put those are the first suits that I ever wore on TV, and I'm still wearing Mr. Mac suits today.